Hello to all you good people watching this right now. It's been a little while, hasn't it? I haven't uploaded in, I don't know, at least 4 months, maybe longer. I've been meaning to make a video about the day in the life of someone with schizophrenia, but I just haven't been able to find the motivation until now because of extreme boredom. And I figured this, making a video was probably more productive than day drinking repeatedly. So here we are, and I am very bad at starting videos, so I'm just going to get right into it, I guess. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about what my current day in the life is like, and then what it was previously when I wasn't doing as well. So pretty much, I do have hallucinations daily. Things like the floor and the walls moving, but I haven't been having as many as in the past, both in terms of frequency and in terms of like the different types of like visual and auditory hallucinations I have. Still been quite paranoid, though not as paranoid, more so just suspicious of things and people and stuff. Um, Day to day, I don't really go out very much, mostly because it makes my paranoia and at times my hallucinations worse. Certain hallucinations stem from going outside versus when I'm at home. I tend to have more aggressive ones when I go out. So, and also it's winter, so it's cold, and that gives me less of a reason to go out. And I just haven't really had a reason to go out lately. I go to the library every week, and I go to like a coffee shop like again once a week, but otherwise I don't really go out. So I went out yesterday, and I'm probably, unless something comes up, I'm probably not going to go out for the rest of the week. So most of my day is spent indoors, and I'm disabled and living with family, so I pretty much just stay in this one room. I know there's like some advice in which you're supposed to work, sleep, and do like recreational stuff in different spaces, but I do all that in the same room. I do pretty much everything in this room other than certain tasks that have to be done like in the kitchen or in the garage. But for the most part, most of my time is spent in this one space, which can get a little maddening at times, and is one reason why I'm eager to move out, so I can have more space and that is mine and can spread out my activities, I guess, and not be confined to a single place for so much of my day every day. Um, but yeah, so normally I mean my day starts out like pretty much anyone else's, I suppose. I mean, I'm out of work right now. I like I said, I'm disabled, so but I am self-employed technically. I do have my own company. I set my own hours. Uh, but I'll get into that in a minute. So yeah, I mostly do. I get up and I do household chores. That's about the only time I'm really out of my room, other than to like get food. And then from there, I mean, again, pretty basic stuff. I shower, get ready. Showering can be difficult when you're paranoid about certain things, or you're just like, I have issues with depression and stuff too. So when you're feeling really depressed, it's hard to find the motivation to shower, but I still do it every day. Sorry for the lack of eye contact, by the way. I'm not very good at making eye contact with the camera. I don't know why. I just don't really like cameras much, which is another reason why I haven't recorded another video in a while. But anyway, and then after all that's done, I get to work, either crafting. So I do all kinds of different crafts, which helps me stay occupied. Unfortunately, it's not helping much right now, as I've been very bored, and boredom leads to more paranoia or more depressive thoughts, which then leads to me being worse off and kind of getting back into a rut, unfortunately. But so yeah, I craft all sorts of different things like soaps, I've started wood engraving, but with a laser, which I'm still kind of figuring out. But making like little leather bookmarks, making like aromatherapy, like fragrance sprays, stuff like that, all sorts of different things. Oh, and I take care of my plants, but essentially in the winter, all that involves is turning on some grow lights and moving the curtain so that the light can get onto my bamboo. Because it doesn't go under the grow lights. But I feel like this is really boring. Maybe that's another reason why I didn't make this video to now. Is my life's not really all that interesting. But if I feel like people are probably curious about what it's like in a day with schizophrenia. But the juicier stuff comes in the past, I suppose. The stuff people really want to hear about. Right now, my life's pretty bland. Nothing too wild happening, like in the past, which I'll get into. But yeah, and then I get to work on either my crafting. I haven't had really any sales lately, so there's been less of a reason to craft other than just to pass the time. Kind of waste money on materials, but and I've been working on a couple of video games, just small games, nothing too crazy. One of them is almost done. I'm just waiting for the art to be finished so I can import the art assets and then get started on the music. So really just the artwork and the music is all we need on that one, and I'll probably like play test it some more just to make sure it's all good. But that one's basically done, and then the second game is a bigger game, still an action RPG like the first one is, but there's quite a few differences between it and the first. And honestly, I'm not really like hoping for the game to blow up or anything like that. I mean, that'd be nice, but if I just really wanted to make a game and then to make a second one that is better, I don't really, I mean, it'd be awesome if they did great, in terms of sales and getting attention and stuff, but I'm not really seeking all that. I just simply wanted to make a game and then make a better game after that, and then I can hang up my hat or keep making games if I want to. It's not a big deal to me. But it does help to keep me busy. But granted, since I am disabled and I struggle, I can't really work long hours. So before I was kind of treating the first game like a 9 to 5. Well, more like a 9 to 12, and then a 2-hour break, and then like 2 to 4 or 2 to 5. But with the second game, while the rest of the work's being done the first, I've kind of treating it, just like a little pastime. Like I think it's definitely turning out better than the first game because I have more experience now, but it's what was I gonna say? It's something where I'm only working like maybe 2 hours a day on 2.5 perhaps. Some days more, some days less. I figure, there's not much of a need to rush it when the first game's not even out yet. So I'm just kind of taking my time and exploring more and just kind of using it as a way to occupy myself. It's very important with schizophrenia, I've found anyway, to stay occupied. So that way I'm not entertaining paranoid delusions too much or spending too much time focusing on hallucinations or anything like that. Or, like focusing on things I'm anxious about because I have issues with anxiety, or diving too much into depressive stuff. Or better to stay busy always. And so, I mean, that's pretty much all I do in a given day. And then I play video games, of course. I mean, it'd be weird if I made video games but didn't play them. I do wish I could go out more. It's just difficult, and I don't really have any friends in this area, and I live in a pretty small area. Any person who I guess could be considered a friend is a pretty fair distance away. Which, I mean, that makes me pretty lonely, and I find that it's good to stay busy so that that loneliness doesn't cause so much pain. It bothers me less when I'm staying busy. But it can be hard because I don't have that many options of things to do. I mean, I read as well in the evenings. Sometimes during my afternoon break, like if I work on the game for a little bit, then maybe I like eat lunch and then read, and then I go back to working on the game. Maybe play a little bit of video games. I try to mix the stuff up. I try not to do things always at a certain time. I find that helps. And if anyone watching this has schizophrenia, maybe that could help you too. So I've heard people in my peer support group talk about how boredom really bothers them and not having much of an interest in things, and then that, like I was saying, can lead to a worsening of other symptoms, at least in my experience. And yeah, it's good to have a variety and try to mix up what you can. Now certain things, like take care of my plants, like I water them in the evening and stuff, like they need to be on a routine. But you know, playing video games, doing crafts, working on the games, reading, I try to vary it up quite a bit. Or when I go out, I usually like to go out earlier when there's less people out and about. But sometimes I'll mix that up and maybe go in like the afternoon sometime. I don't really like to go in the evening though. Yeah, so that's pretty much, and then I go to bed super early because of my medication, and also because it gets dark early. So I usually go to bed at like 8 o'clock, and I used to be able to sleep for about 7 hours, maybe 8, but now with the medication, I have to sleep usually like 12 hours. Sometimes I can get away with 11 or even 10, but normally it's got to be like 12. So I usually sleep 8 to 8 or 8 to 7. Yeah, I wish I didn't sleep as much as I do. And hopefully I won't be as tired when it's like staying bright out or sunny out, you know, longer. But yeah, so that's the day in the life right now. Now, in the past, when I was working, it was pretty nightmarish. I mean, a lot of things are similar. I mean, I wasn't working on the game now, and I wasn't doing crafts, but, you know, my getting ready routine and stuff was about the same. But I would often be haunted by these shadowy figures, shadow people, things like that. I would see animals a lot more. I would be very paranoid at work, so like one job I worked was customer service, and I'd be very paranoid of customers, paranoid of my coworkers, paranoid of management, feeling like I'm being stalked, feeling like I'm being recorded. And that would also be the case everywhere I went. I don't really feel like I'm being stalked or recorded very often now. But yeah, even when I went to like, you know, the coffee shop I mentioned and stuff like that, I would get like that. I would also, I don't have as much trouble with thought broadcasting right now. Happens sometimes, but yeah, I would think that people were reading my thoughts and could like see into me and all this other stuff, which made working difficult, you know, all those different things. And that's part of the reason why I'm out of work. And well, you know, I do the game work and stuff, but I haven't actually made any money from that yet because the games they're not out. They kind of have to be out in order for me to make any sort of profit, and I'm not even really seeking profits. Yeah, so where was I going with this? I lose my train of thought a lot. Not as much as I used to, though. That's another thing that would happen quite a bit in my daily life, is just difficulty communicating sometimes, difficulty problem solving. I feel like I can see things more clearly now and make better judgments. I'd behave much more impulsively in my past daily life. Not like recklessly, but just I would do things on a whim and not really consider, the pros or the cons very well. Yeah, I guess. What else? I mean, I would see. This is really just a video. It's turning into just like, what am I paranoid of and what do I hallucinate? Yeah, I would sometimes see strangers wearing the faces of people I knew, but the bodies would be wrong. Or I'm still suspicious of a lot of people. Suspicious of neighbors and stuff like that, but I used to be much more so. I still often look out the windows, kind of observing what's going on in the neighborhood, like watching the other houses, watching the barn across the street, watching cars go by. Especially if cars go by kind of slowly, that freaks me out. It makes me feel like they really are spying. I mean, I guess I feel like people are spying regardless, but it's definitely happening. Like maybe there's some uncertainty. Like, could they be spying? And then if someone goes by slow, it's like, oh, that was definitely a case of that. Oh, you'll notice too. Usually I needed like a protective hat to. If you watch the last video, I had a hat on, and I would wear hats a lot because I feel like they kind of help contain my thoughts, because sometimes I have problems with thoughts. Like, I can hear my thoughts outside my head, and it's almost like they're spilling out of my head. And that I had this feeling that certain hats, I know it's illogical, but could help contain the thoughts and maybe even prevent some people from reading my thoughts. But I don't feel like I really need that now. I mean, I still wear a hat quite a bit when I go out. I mean, it's also cold, so it's kind of a logical thing. But yeah, I don't feel like I really need that right now. So that's another difference between my daily life before and now. Sorry, I lost my train of thought again. Yeah, except I couldn't wear hats to work. So that, unfortunately, I couldn't have that defense. And yeah, I mean, I worked other jobs other than customer service in the past, but I still had problems with paranoia and stuff. I had every job and issues with hallucinations and stuff like that. But now I'm just suspicious and of things and not really seeing too much anymore. Sometimes I see people who aren't there very briefly, or I see like maybe my cat in two places at the same time or something like that. Animals briefly appearing then disappearing. But yeah, not as not as many unfortunate things happening to me now. Mostly it's just pretty stagnant. Like I said, I try to vary things up day to day, but I've been quite bored and quite lonely. And I guess that's really all I have to say. I don't have much of a conclusion to give. I guess I'm not sure what anyone would listen to any of this for, but it just felt good to kind of talk about it and get it off my chest. And I don't want to waste any more time of whoever is listening to this. It's been going for almost 20 minutes. So, but yeah, that is a day in the life. I guess my past day in the life was more what I think people were interested in hearing about. It's kind of hard. I probably would have had more information if I was making this video back then, but now it's harder to recollect. And my current day in life with schizophrenia is honestly not that different, other than I just don't go to work, That's pretty much the main difference, and I just have less hallucinations and less paranoia. So I don't know. I guess I don't know if there was much of a point in making this video, but I guess hopefully it filled someone's time. Maybe if someone's bored out there like me, and instead of day drinking, you can watch this, and maybe that would be better. Or I don't know, if you really want to, you could day drink while watching this, but I don't know why you would. Okay, well, it's been 20 minutes, so I'm gonna go now. Thanks to whoever watched this all the way through. Again, I don't know why, but thank you regardless. Bye.